dance with me, move your body, 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 your legs a bit. Come on, dance with me, move your body, your legs a bit.
jet and go to, we'll get to that part later. Go to, actually no. Yes, we're actually going to go to the places that most requires aid. We'll go damn myself. We're not going to go anywhere with prices, so we're going to go places with like giant wide open space, and anyone who wants to be a part of it will of course go through the whole cleaning process before they enter the premises of the event horizon, and all everything we make with it. Oh, can you imagine how much money we can make with something like that? And we can use that to help the whole village, right? Now, how lovely will that be? And that's what I want to call AbsolutXayanalogy. I get very camera shy. I mean, I can dance like a monkey, but I can't talk to an empty camera. I just don't feel the inspiration coming out of me. I need to talk to people to be able to make a solid point. And I believe Absolute is an instrumental element of my life, but it wasn't meant to come to me till now. And that in itself is also a very interestingly beautiful story, even you would agree when I do tell you. I do, however, wish Fernando Ricard would give me some money to survive in my reality. I have a lot of content to give all of you to me. I mean, I have over 100 something sets that I can use to bring back all the artworks Absolute has ever created. And then we will take it to 2 points over. Oh, how many wonderful things that can be done. All the cities, all the colors, all the art, all the artists. And that's a vast wide of a lot of colors. And I would just like to bring it all back. And I'm not saying I'm the one who's going to do it solo. I just know that I'm going to do it too. And I actually have quite a few projects, except for the fact that right now I am drowning in my reality. I live in a house with my mother and 2 sisters, and I don't know how to pay rent. And I'm very new actually, so I kind of feel if in my entire livelihood I just need one over above all else. If Absolute believes in me and becomes my greatest partner in rhyme, then I will never again need anything. We could go exclusive, actually. You know what? We can teach people how to be better at drinking. But I need some help right now. Please help me. So before I lose momentum, I actually want to share a little story with all of you, which is to do with, okay, earlier today, something very humbling, and yet for me it was very interestingly humbling actually, because every once in a while when I get the paperwork side of my activities covered, then I actually get a lot of response to the things I do. Like, say, the art. Say, I'm sitting in Southeast Asia, and the music I play comes all the way from South Africa. Like, I actually always refer to all of Africa on it, but anyways, so yesterday I got one of those things right, and one of the artists who are actually better renowned, shared my post, and through which this a DJ and a producer, he reached out to me, asking me to check out his like last. He asked me to check out his new songs if I like it, and if I would actually say if I were to like it, if I would play it. And I'm thinking to myself, if I like it, of course I'm gonna play it. Anyway, so we got to talking, and so I my brain tends to work very differently than other people's, but it's more about processing information and then, like curating and cultivating, and then like throwing away the riffraff of information that goes into my head, and then just holding on to the things that matter. And now here's the thing: I've been a DJ for 10 years, and I have gone through many subcategories of music. And when I first started mixing, I was into deep and dark progressives, and I went to progressive, and then I found home for almost 5. My longest relationship was with deep house, new disco, indie dance music, because I was into it for the longest. But the thing is, I generally everything that I listen to now, I would still refer to originally as like spiritual house, like all kinds of spirit, soul house. I need to come up with a better term for that. I'll get to that later. So, however, the point I was trying to make is that the part where, so in the beginning of 2020, I was in Palace Resorts and I generally never wake up, going back to that DJ. So I gathered he's from Botswana, and he's looking to get into the whole world of music that I represent for the most part. I mean, everyone seems to have come around to knowing black coffee, but they don't seem to have come around to everybody else. But I also know it's like I feel this great connection to South Africa and like that entire world. I mean, but I've never felt more connected to the souls of artists as much as I have done so since I came into the world of your musics. Is that like it? It's very similar to my own because there is so much soul. There is just so much soul in because and you know what I it makes me actually feel appreciative of the fact that we come from like underpowered countries because we've learned to find joy in very little things like some and the most important things like the things that makes your spirit body mind and soul be in sync. I mean there's so much power in it. I swear when I came back from after my gig in the New Year's I because I generally never wake up in the morning and read the news or watch the newspaper. I always get this wrong. Basically, I never wake up in the morning and catch up with what's happening in the world because bi- first of all, because it is my undoing. No man is designed to wake up every morning and learn how many people have died in vain. It takes everything from you. You're not supposed to be okay with it. And we have the world we live in. It's like you're not intelligent if you're not doing that. If you're not waking up in the morning and turning your TV on for the news and reading the newspaper. I don't do that. It doesn't mean that I don't stay up to date with what's happening in the world, but I have to brace myself before I can do that. Moving on. Um, contrary to what they want to say about coronavirus, that it's called COVID-19 because it was discovered in 2019. But here's the thing. It wasn't. However way they want to spin this narrative, coronavirus did not come out to play for the most part of anything before the year 2020. And 2020 is a very powerful year. And I'll tell you that how. If what's important and what's happening in the world is your world news, which is how everyone's mindset and narrative is being controlled, I'll tell you what the headlines were for the first 3 days of 2020. There was the Australian bushfires and the worldwide fireworks celebration, and of course, there's like Trump's impeachment, all that. Like one segment about Trump that has to be that as it may. But there wasn't even a top three headlining stories for the first 3 days of 2020, 2 days of 2020, let's just say, when anybody, because at the speed that Corona has come and hit the world, I mean that speed happens very quickly. That impact was very fast. There was no brooding about it and grooming it. It just happened very fast, and it did not happen in 2019. It happened in 2020. And I'll tell you this, I because I was in a hotel, I came around to spending the first couple of days and waking up to see the news. It's the reason why I'm solidly aware of the world, like, top headlines of what was the world's concern entering into 2020. And Corona wasn't a part of that. It meant nothing to nobody in that moment in time. It was, I think, around the 8th when I think it came and hit. And my first reaction was, of course, there was going to be like, what better way to put a Chinese wall between the very year when awakening is inevitable for everybody. Of course, they're going to drop something to shield that from happening and what better way to do that other than to drop a plague, right? I'm not fighting the plague. No, don't worry about it. However, let me tell you something I did, and I did consciously when I was leaving Palace Resort. I was so gutted. I hated the idea of coming back home. I mean, my life was in that moment so. My life also had a reset. So, and first thing I did after I came back home was shower, set my laptop back out, and because of the fact that I discovered a song called Prayer for Rain, I decided that I'm going to make a set, and I'm going to anoint it and use all the elements that's in it to pray for rain for Australia, because the dots just connected when I discovered a song Prayer for Rain, and I thought, why? So the consensus of the set before I made it is that I am consciously my spirit and the power between South Africa to Southeast Asia, from where the songs that I play are being made, and from where I sit as I'm sharing this with the world on my version, and all that's in between it. I pledge that set Prayer for Rain for Australia. So now I am not yet aware of what I hadn't learned about this ability just yet. Not to that extent. No, I just realized that. I did the part. I made the set and I anointed it and I pledged my soul and I pledged every energy that I can harness from the place between South Africa and South, from where I sit and where all these music comes from, for it to rain in Australia, because it was looking very bad. And after I was done, I mean, I've done my bit, and because the rain was there was no inclination of any possibility of any rain in Australia in that time. So yes, I mean, I did something that I understand can be against odds, but I did whatever I believe I could do, and I went about my way. And it was in fact a day or two later, when a girlfriend of mine was sitting in front of me, and I was just telling her about it, and she's like, "Sana, don't you know?" I'm like, "No, what?" Like, it rained in Australia, and I'm like, it was the most delightful. And here's the thing: I am not the only one that prayed for that. I am just the person that took it and made it solid in my version, and I'm guessing a lot of other people might have has in fact done that in their own way. But I did everything in my power, and together we made it rain in Australia, and that is how we entered 2020. And I say this to you now, and this is just to make you understand that there is so much power to be had, and there's so much that there needs to be done. And Diana, I just want to do my part for it. I want nothing less or nothing more than that. I have, for the past 8 years, curated, cultivated, and conjured up this greatest of a plan, through which I will bring forth, and I wish to do this all at once, the greatest creative collaboration the world has ever seen. And I have at least, and I mean by this, I actually mean at least 8 different segments of it, like 8 counterparts. I mean, I call this my archetype alliance. My archetype alliance. Which has archetype alliance is still part of like a bigger year, which is like my new world order, which is spelled with NU, because of course I used to be a new disco DJ. And I intend to bring all of them out into the world all at once. But I wasn't supposed to be doing it till I turned 30. This level of ascension wasn't to come to me till I turned 30. And now here I am, and now here we are, and now I'm really hoping that this video I'm making actually renders results, because the time is nigh. I said sometime during that whole this corona bullshit has taken 3 months of my life. which I will never get back. And he has taken so much more from all of you, and you don't even realize it. Everybody wears a mask on their face, and I wear a mask that is rendered out of the understanding of our most fundamental thing. You know what those are? The thing that can collaborate and calibrate our spirit, body, mind, and soul. And how do we get that? Through the elements that are rudimentary and elementary to all things we are in even our most primitive ways. And you know what those things are rendered through? Music, art, sports cultures. Those are the things that actually matter to man. You know, it's actually like 98% of the world's population aren't actually bad. They're just clueless. They're not evil. They just want to have a roof over their head and food on their table, right? And they want to go about their business. And the problem is that is what they have. Everybody has been doing till now. But 2020 was going to change all of that. Because, and this story I think I'll tell another time, because I just need to make sure that I put this out there before I actually end up deleting it, because I have a tendency of doing that too. But rather than talking about the past, I want to talk about the future. And I have some great ideas and great plans, and it's beginning to look alive because life has returned in the world. And I just feel if I can get, first of all, just the one and only company in the world that I can get to believe in me, I'll just vini vidi vici it all together. And that's between Pernod Ricard and Philip Morris. I think I would be absolutely golden, because why? I actually do drink and I actually do smoke. So I don't have any contention. And just because we drink and we smoke does not mean, I mean, talk about the hypocrisy of it all, that people deem electronic cigarettes as something that's good for their body. And I don't know about anybody else, but I, for one, cannot for the life of me understand that, because however many ways we may be harming our lungs with cigarettes, vapes and all of these, it's this electronic machine that you are using to pump something through your throat inside your body. Now, the way and this thing you can like connect to a charger. Now, electronic cigarettes will basically, not too long in future, will become something like that's created, like mutated into like a new form of, say, cancer, I'm guessing. And when it's going to happen, they're just going to say, oh, sorry, we didn't know, because it is such a new science. But cigarettes are still, in my understanding, all, shedding all the theories and the sciences. I mean, I'm just a simple smoker. I don't understand how something, because this has been here for as long as man has been around. Man will always find something to smoke. And regular cigarettes are just regular cigarettes, and people have survived long against odds on them. Anyway, I'm not here to fight at everybody else's right to those things, but let's bring it down to what's happening right now only. I am wearing a mask that is rendered by the elements of music, art, sports cultures, as is see, come to hell or high water, people. I used to say that, actually, I can't believe it did change. That I used to say that come hell or high water, people will never stop partying. And I said that after losing 9 friends in a ISIS attack not too far from where I live. And that pain that I felt, the fact that even I The fact that when I brought back life into my community, and this, I actually was the person, I remember bringing it back alive, my small community, but I thought after that come hell or high water, people will never stop partying. And turned out that's not true. Wow. However, actually, you know what was I thinking? All it takes for us to be able to do anything we want to do, and if it involves having people in it, we just do a new kind of remote. There's a lot of process that goes into a person traveling into a place. I say that process can be like an 8-part cleansing process before which we will bring about a large social gathering. And I think that is the kind of science only companies such as Bernard Ricard and Philip Morris can use. And if I can just get the two of you to believe in what I'm actually saying, then okay, you know what? Oh God, this is gonna be good. Then I believe I will actually never need anybody else to work with. I mean, and if the two of you actually do heed my calling, I would say there is something that we ought to do. And I actually had this thought. I can't remember exactly when, but stumbling upon this company called Pal V. They look like a high end, like a luxury company who built basically these helicopters that turn into like, also runs on roads, kind of something. And I thought to myself that in that world in which, say, I am being backed by Philip Morris and Bernard Ricard, and you get that company to work with you, and you basically create this field of new narratives where creative structure of what people do should matter, and some digital outlets are very instrumental in it. Say for example, Uber is the first of its kind, so nobody can take Uber's place. People are always gonna bitch and moan and whine about it and go for the alternatives. But then the thing is, Uber was the first of its kind, and for that, not that Uber actually needs anybody else's money, but Uber deserves a place, a mantle, and Uber should join that whole this coalition that I'm trying to bring forth with all these companies as the ones who get. So this whole part about, say, like giving awards, like rewarding like technology, but like build the thing. We still do not have a proper, like a hierarchy, lower hierarchy of anything. There's just too much of everything. There is no order to it, and that order needs to be returned. Like, people want to bitch about Facebook so much, but do they stop using it? No, they don't. Everyone needs to start being accountable for their own actions, and that part is very true. So anyway, I wanted to basically, one of my other platforms, which is called Judge, Jury, and Visionaries, I was gonna make into, it's like, it's like, why is Oscar the Oscars? Because somebody decided to create that something that builds a hierarchy. It's you people don't know what is what till somebody teaches them how to do it. The teaching of the palette of what is valuable, what is cool. And I just know that there is a lot of people in the world who care about that, and then there's also a lot of people in the world who could use all the help they can get. And I, for one, wish to use the one for the other, and from the one to the other. There, between the two sides, all that we can do is go forth and conquer. And I'm feeling very giddy right now, and I want to believe because this message will actually work. But I'm not going to get my hopes high, so I'm going to return to the fact of my friend. So he made so I heard his song. Oh, so I also have decided that I will change his life because he only has some tiny little glitches in his reality which has rendered his growth to stop. Also because he comes from a different place he's in Africa, so it's like all the big boys, all the big dogs are from South Africa, and he's from a little bit of a distance, and I will always help the underdog. But I think I should say it to him first because I don't want to. I mean, he asked me to tell somebody, like say all the master producers, perhaps if they want to like correct his set like song for him. And I thought to myself, that's not right. I mean, if yours is good, yours is good. If it's not, but it made me realize he's open to suggestions. And since I, Zayana, have no desire to be a producer, I am actually very happy being just a DJ because when it comes to music, I am like a procurer and provider. I'm like a hunter-gatherer. I mean, I bring food for anyone who's sitting on my table to eat, like the food for their soul. And when it comes to my own act, I want to have like synchronized dance performances to it. I want to have live, all kinds of musicians playing with me. I am more than happy working with all of that. I don't need to be a producer because people seem to have this strange notion that if you are a DJ, you have to want to pursue your career as a producer. I don't want to. I do want to actually use my choreography skills to one day be respected by the likes of, say, So You Think You Can Dance. These things feel very too fantastic for me to want to believe in. It makes my insides tingle, but I feel it can be. I mean, I believe it. I believe it. It can be done. And the reason I'm getting giddy now is because never before have I actually had this thought, let alone out loud before. So that's that. So now we're gonna listen to his song, which P.S. my friend Mr. Aphrodite already shared. Right, so my friend, I mean, upon hearing your song, here's what I want to tell you in my opinion. I mean, you actually possess the. I mean, since I actually do not want to be a producer, I do, however, have all these ideas of music that I would like to have someone be able to make for me because I mean, I started mixing because I had no one to teach me how to mix. I don't need to pick up on that skill set, and I would love to have you help me with that perhaps. However, before I do, I will tell you three things about your song. It's it's got the kick. It's got the perfect kick, but there's a bit of a monotone sense between it. So now, if you were to just break down let's just do the song. Like each of the build-up parts, like need to be you need to cut it short a little and throw in a couple more um, Wait. It does have that one thing that I personally, okay, I mean, see, I'm no producer, so it's not it's not a place from where I like to be talking from, but I'll do it from listeners slash expert, maybe. No, expert sounds too bold for my taste. Like in this exact part, if you were to throw in just one more, like I don't know how producing process works, but if you threw like from this point, if you were to throw in one more, just one more, say like a melodic something, it would pick up, like take on like a different. It requires one more melodic beat in this part, like following into it. Oh wait, you had that already. No, it requires one more. Like this is when you need to take it up, like you need to feel more. You need to have a couple more. Yeah, I think you're just missing like a couple of intense melodies in that, and the timing of course. And see, these parts go on for too long. It's quite rough. I mean, it needs more joy. It needs it or you need to have an emotion to this beat. It's got a lot of soul that you're trying to release, but you need to have some things that actually hurt, or give actually start with the hurting part and go with the follow it with the joy part. Second of all, my friend, your name, I don't know how it's pronounced, and I hate getting it wrong, so I'm not going to pronounce it right now. Your name is nowhere to be found for the most part of YouTube or anything, because your name's been taken by someone who does something very, very different from you. But that person pays a lot of money to stay ahead in that name thing. So your name just needs to have a bit of thing, like you got to get creative with your name, keep it authentic, but something like that. And like in one fell swoop, you got to like reset it. Forget who you were yesterday and come back as the new you. Like I have been waiting to be able to come back. Basically, I recognized at some point that I wasn't going to be allowed to ascend to that next great version of myself till I would turn 30. So I was to turn 30 in December 14th, 2019, and I also knew the significance of 2020. So I made a plan that so come December, when I turn 30, I will get rid of all things Zayana, and I have been Zayana of three kinds in my 30 years of long and short life. I mean, when I was born, it was with a J. When I made my Facebook account, I spelled it with a Z. And when I needed a name as an artist, became Zana with an X. So, I've been Zana with a J, Zana with a Z, Zana with an X. But come 2020, I knew also what was coming. And when you're fighting for the greater good of mankind, you cannot be anybody. So yes, I may be Zayana. I'm Zayana. I may be good for ABC to XYZ things, but who am I? I'm no one. That's where I need to go. So I came up with a plan that after I turn 30, I'll get rid of all things. Zayana meant getting rid of all of my social media outlets. I literally hit the reset button, come back in 2020 as the dig jockey. And that way I wouldn't have anything personal anymore. Nothing that can get under my skin, because you cannot have pride and ego when you're fighting for the greater good of mankind. And actually 6 months into 2020, I'm beginning to understand why that was very important. More important than I would have realized, actually, now that we're nearly there. Except that I actually started going live. I mean, after being a DJ for 10 years, I went live for the first time 10 months ago. Oddly enough, 4 months before the rest of the world, 4 months before the world went to shit, and going live on video became a thing, actually. And from that came Zayanology. So when the world went to shit and everything shut down, and I realize what I was doing for people. And I get told that a lot too. But every time someone says that to me, it means everything to me. I am no good at promoting myself. I am very bad at hashtag and all that. I just want to press play and do what I do, which is why I need, and I can get all the assists I need in life, but I can't currently even pay my own rent. So I don't know how to balance that. I do know there is something I do know how to do, and that I keep doing. I think I've done quite a bit of talking today, which tells me I should. Let's just listen to one song together, and then I'll let you go.